Hey, watch fans, I got some breaking news from my nephew Kino. My nephew Kino is telling me that a few of the big gray market dealers and some bigger backpacker dealers are in serious financial trouble and could be skipping town. They could be closing up shop and skipping town. Now, you do not want to be holding the bag, so I'm going to give you some tips and tricks of how not to get sodomized by some of these Muppet boiler room channels, backpack dealers, tomato can crayon eating lowlives. Number one, my number one suggestion, let's say you see a watch on Chrono, wherever it is, right? On a forum. Rule number one is you get in touch with the seller and you tell this crayon eater you want to get a WhatsApp. You want to do a WhatsApp video. You want to see him. You want to examine the watch through WhatsApp. You want to do a video live, not recording. You don't want to see photos. You want to see the thing live on a call, right? So what that means is, most of these low life backpacker boiler room grifters, they have all their watches. They just put up a picture. They don't own anything. They don't own nothing. All they got is a backpack. A lease on a G-Wagon that they haven't paid in 3 months, and a massage table and a storage locker. That's what most of these guys are. They're fly-by-nighters. Now, what you don't want to do is, you don't want to send a guy money until you know for sure that he has the watch. You've done a video call, that means he's got it in his possession. 90% of these lowlives on Chrono 24 or whatever, they're just using somebody else's stock photo. The watch may not exist. Now, it's interesting. This is, I thought some of you guys would be smart, but now I don't keep track of these, Muppet boiler room YouTube channels, but apparently there was a guy, the Wizard, Stefano. I remember seeing him on the Archie Luxury YouTube a couple times. Seemed like a, nice enough guy. Kind of a slick operator, but, seemed like a legit guy. Again, I could never really watch it for more than, 10 minutes at a time because it just gets very repetitive. These Muppet boiler room guys, they do these live streams because they're trying to keep you going for as long as possible, because I think they figured out the longer they're up on stage, like an old bust-down toothless stripper, they figure at some point maybe a whale will come in and drop $100 super chat or something, right? They figure they're going to make X amount of dollars per hour, so they just they keep these conversations going in circles, endless loop, just nonsense, sniffing each other's farts, getting high off each other's farts in the room. I mean, that's what these guys do. That's the monkey eyebrows, a leprechaun, that's what he does. That's what the Archie does, Tim, all these guys. They're all trying to fleece you. They're all trying to keep you on, wasting your time and money. I mean, can you imagine spending an hour, 2 hours watching these videos? Guys just, inhaling each other's farts, talking about, nonsense, not even watches. But I remember seeing this guy a couple times. He seemed okay. I don't know. I have never any business, but I saw a video the other day. I just popped up by random that this Wizard apparently, he stiffed a bunch of guys. They sent him money for PATEKs for like a 5711. I think there was some guy who calls himself SLC collector, whatever. And they sent the guy like 95 grand, 100 grand, 150 grand, big money. And based on a photo, because this Wizard said that he had access to the watch and it was in Europe or somewhere. I mean, listen, if a guy doesn't have the watch, if he doesn't have the goods in hand, do not wire money. It's very simple. Do not wire money if a guy does not have goods in hand, okay? And apparently the Wizard never had any of these watches, or, and he skipped town. Probably, I don't know, maybe probably about $1 million in thievery. I don't know. I haven't really followed. Maybe you guys can leave a comment below. Let me know what's happened. A couple of other guys have had that. Now, here's the interesting, my friends. we're in a very interesting point in time where I believe 2024, next couple of months, we're going to see some major collapses of some, established boiler rooms, established gray market dealers. Any of you old enough to remember the Great Financial Crisis, as they call it, the GFC, Lehman Brothers? Well, what a lot of you don't remember, or maybe don't know, is that it really started, the domino started to fall really with Bear Stearns. Okay, Bear Stearns went bankrupt, bust. And Bear Stearns was a major, I mean, they were like very innovative, really great Wall Street firm for, 100 years, I don't know, 80 years they've been around. Really innovative. I mean, these guys were like, blue chip, right? And, but they went bust in March 2008. But it was preceded by a couple of their hedge funds going bust, a couple of their mortgage-backed securities funds going bust the previous summer. So it took about 6 or 9 months before things kind of really caught up. And listen, one thing leads to another, right? It's like a chain reaction, right? It's like a butterfly effect. The butterfly flaps its wings, and you may not feel it for a while, but all of a sudden there's an earthquake in Japan or something, right? Or butterfly flaps its wings in Bulgaria, and here I am, and one of these rocks falls down halfway, all the way around the world, right? So what's happening right now, my friends, is that the timepiece gentleman, Anthony, that was, and the wizard, those are kind of the first dominoes to fall. Okay, that's kind of shows you the symptoms of what's going on, that the sickness of the patient underneath the surface, right? Underneath the surface, it's rotten. And again, the Warren Buffett had a famous expression, when the tide goes out, you're going to see who was swimming naked, right? Now, Anthony had a great business going. He was doing serious business. He really had a great business model. He had a great social media. I actually, I'm not a fan of him personally, but I think the guy needs to be commended for really being a real marketing genius. I did it in a previous video. I said the guy was, for reaching a certain target audience, a marketing genius. He was doing great business. He may have had expenses that might have been a little high, but when things slow down, all of a sudden, you can't have, these grifters, these leeches, and $100,000 a month apartments, and, $14,000 dinners. You can't be doing that because it kind of adds up. But here's the thing. The Wizard, I think, was a, respected, backpack dealer or whatever for many years. I believe, because I think even, Tweety Bird with the parakeet haircut and the butthole eyes, I think he vouched for him, right? So a lot of these guys, they're vouching for these guys because they've been respected, right? But what happens is when things slow down, all of a sudden, bills pile up. We're starting to see a lot of guys are paying late on consignments, on installments, everything else. There is some serious problems ahead. A lot of these guys, here's the big problem. A lot of these guys are sitting on inventory that they bought at the high and that they haven't taken the hit yet. They have not taken the hit yet on prices. Okay, and I think most of them. That's the problem. What happens? When the market's going up, it's a hot market. All these guys are trying to get as much inventory as possible. I saw one dealer in Florida about 2 years ago, I think it was. He must have had 100 Explorer 2s in his showcase. I mean, he had a bunch of other stuff, whatever, but he had a bunch of these Explorer 2s, right? He was trying to corner the market or something in these. I don't know. Ugliest to watch ever. But a lot of these guys are just trying to get as much inventory as possible because they could always sell it. The more inventory you have, the more money you make. By the way, in case I didn't tell you, JLC dual time on the wrist here. By the way, the watch market is dead. So this watch I paid $9,000 for. You could probably get it for $9,000 today. It's a phenomenal watch. I think these will be, if you can get it for $9,000, your money's safe. I think you'll be able to get 15 for it in a few years. Again, this is not a hot money market right now, right? So this is just simply you got to buy things dirt cheap. Maybe even $8,000 you might be able to get this for. I don't know. Look, a lot of people haven't taken the hit. There's going to be a lot of watches. They're going to be coming out, flooding the market in the next 30 days. We're in January right now. A lot of these Muppet boiler rooms, they had very bad holiday sales. They weren't what they expected, and they were counting on these holiday sales to pay the bills. It's sort of like a gambler. You know, it's like Anthony. It's like Anthony at the roulette. You know, he's losing money, doubles down. He's hoping that, you know, the next thing is going to come up a winner. He's going to get all the money back. But the problem is the casino has a lot more money than you, right? So this market might be bad for another year. So my advice to these Muppet boilers is stay alive till 25. That's the game plan, right? Because this is going to be a rough year. You're going to have China invading Taiwan. You're going to have a lot of other things happening. Look, you know, Bitcoin, the stock market, you know, things have gone up. Things have gone up in the last 6 months. We've had a pretty good market, but you know, you got an election coming up. What if there's a contested election? Very likely to happen. Trump likely to win. You know, maybe they're not going to let him in. Look what they're doing in all these states. They're not letting this guy get on the ballot. I mean, that's actually like unheard of. I mean, it's really, you know, I'm not trying to make this a political thing, although I do believe Donald J. Trump, probably the greatest president of American history, and he'll be seen that way at some point. But there's a lot of people who hate this guy for whatever reason. There's a real visceral reaction. They're doing everything they can to keep this guy off the ballot. And you know, if he wins, you know, maybe they won't let him in. I don't know. It might be a civil war. I mean, you know, when I say civil war, you know, I'm not talking about. Maybe you could have tanks. You could have, you know, Marshall or whatever. You know, you never know. You know, it's like everything is great until it stops, right? So I do believe there's some, you know, real black swans in the waters right now. We got some black swans in the pond. You got Anthony the Wizard. Those are just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. It's sort of like when those two hedge funds went bust 6 months before Bear Stearns. And after Bear Stearns, it was another, you know, I don't know, 6 months before Lehman went bust. And that really, like, wow, when Lehman went bust, I was like, whoa, that was when shit got real, as the kids say these days, right? Because that's you know, Lehman, that was like it's sort of like saying the Federal Reserve goes bust. I mean, you know, Lehman was major. You know, that was one of the big firms, the big firms. There's only who's left now. You got Goldman Sachs, you got, I don't know, but that was one of the big players. When they go bust, there's a chain of reaction. So what happens? You have contagion, right? That's the big fear. See, a lot of people, there were a lot of counterparty trades with Bear Stearns and Lehman, right? Meaning that, you know, somebody sent Bear Stearns or Lehman watches on consignment, or they bought something and the money didn't come in yet, whatever, and all of a sudden you got hundreds of people holding the bag, and that spreads. So I believe once some of these boiler rooms start going bust, there's going to be contagion, okay, my friends? That is the thing that's going to happen in the next few months. We're going to have contagion. When one of these big boiler rooms goes bust, and I think a couple of them are on the precipice of going bust, you know, it's going to have a lot of counterparty effects. You know, at the end of the day, look, the watch market is relatively small. It's a really small potatoes, right? And these guys don't have deep pockets. I mean, most of them are, you know, borrowing money from loan sharks, you know, from, you know, what do you call it, pawn shops or whatever. And, you know, they're paying, you know, interest rates are not cheap anymore. It's no more zero interest. Some of these guys could be paying 20%. And look, when things get tight, you know, let's say one of these big boiler rooms goes bust, and all of a sudden they owe money to 20 other boiler rooms, and those boiler rooms now can't pay you, or they can't buy from you, or they can't send you the stuff that they claimed that they had. Well, you get the idea, my friends. The contagion could be bigger than COVID. It's going to spread faster than the Chinese flu. The contagion in the watch market is going to spread faster than the Chinese flu in a bat market next to a biowarfare lab. That's how fast the contagion could spread. We're at the precipice right now. You see this? The precipice. This is about 2,000 feet up. Okay, and you know, a lot of these hucklebuck boiler room guys. Let me illustrate my point. We're at the precipice, and you see this? Did you hear it? That's gonna be a bunch of these Hucklebuck tomato cans, crayon eaters, going bust. So, my friends, do not buy anything unless you've seen a video of it, unless you've handled it in the flesh. Do not send any of these tomato cans, watches, a consignment. And you know, the most important thing you can do is to subscribe to this channel and tell all your idiot friends, and make sure you press that like and subscribe button, the thumbs up button, and you know, you're gonna be able to survive and thrive and not end up like this. Horseshit. Don't step in this. Don't step in this, my friend. So you gotta subscribe to this channel if you want to avoid stepping in horse shit. All right. See you soon.